Monday, August 25th, 2025, public hearings for the Pittsburgh Public School Boards. I'd like to call this meeting to order. As we begin, as we do every time, I just want to clarify the process for tonight's public hearing. Ms. Erica Gandy will moderate tonight's hearing. Each speaker has 3 minutes to speak, whether you're in person or online. If you're here in person, as your 3 minutes begins to wind down, the red light on your microphone will begin to blink. For our online speakers, as your time begins to wind down, we will give you a signal on Zoom to let you know that you're winding down. This is a reminder that speakers had signed up in advance and you're not allowed to share your time with any other speakers. If you happen to miss when you're called, we will come around to you towards the end to give you an opportunity just in case you were a little bit late. Just for the order of speakers, as we have been doing in our practice, is our in-person speakers will go first, followed by all of our virtual speakers. Some of this stuff I don't need. Okay, and then for those who are not able to attend in person, this video of this meeting, along with all of the submitted testimonies, will be uploaded to the website tomorrow. And if you would like to view the public hearing, you can visit our district homepage. There is a link at the top of the page. And with that, I think that's it. I will turn the meeting over to Ms. Gandy to call our first testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. And our first speaker this evening is Ann Ferris.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Ann Ferris, a PPS parent living in the North Side. I've been speaking to you at these public hearings since late fall of last year. In ways, it feels like a long time to continue to ask that you focus on accountability, transparency, and fiscal responsibility when it comes to holding the superintendent accountable for his handling of the now called Future Ready's facility plan. However, it seems like a short time to see how much more limited your scope of governance has become while you work with the Council of Great City Schools under the Student Outcomes Focused Governance contract. I can see why Dr. Walters asked for clarification on what community engagement means when the district scheduled the state-required public hearings for school closures during the summer months after the community publicly asked for these hearings to take place in the fall and at schools. After Director Taliaferro repeated these concerns from her community, after Director Silk asked pointedly why these meetings were still scheduled during summer when the public clearly called for these meetings to happen during the school year. And for SOFG, here we are after 12 community listening sessions where 250 people attended, seeing the 9 of you vote this week on 3 goals the superintendent must meet in order to receive his 4% salary increase, bringing his salary to $301,239. 2 of these have already been met, which means there's actually a single updated goal in that list. These 3 goals are only tied to 3rd grade ELA test scores, 3rd grade math test scores, and 12th grade graduation rates. Where is the accountability for the superintendent to improve the quality of education and student outcomes for our students from 4th to 12th grade? Where are the goals to ensure our students are offered algebra, which was possibly the most mentioned concern during the ERS Facilities Utilization Plan meetings? Where are the goals to ensure our students receive equitable access to robust arts, music, and library instruction and programming, something this group insists is a significant impetus behind the school closings and grade reconfigurations? Many of us spoke out about our concerns that student outcomes-focused governance is undemocratic, that it weakens the school board's authority to hold the superintendent accountable, and it quiets our voices. You responded by discussing in meetings how you are not giving up your power to hold Dr. Walters accountable, and then you cut 75 questions you responsibly brought to the table down to 8 with CGCS guidance. In less than 2 years, you've dropped the superintendent's goals from 13 to 3 for this year. 40% of those who are testifying tonight or who signed up to testify are speaking up for English language learners. Where are the goals to support our most vulnerable students? I am asking you to show us that you are not giving up the board's authority to hold the superintendent accountable to improve the quality of PPS experience for all students by
Thank you for your testimony. And our next speaker is Emily Sawyer.
I'm grateful that there are those of you who are asking for more details to ensure that our plans moving forward are not simply school closures. Closing schools isn't really a change in how we've done things. It's actually exactly what we've always done. So it's not enough to do just anything. It has to be the right things. And if you all aren't super clear on what you're looking for, then I fear we might not end up with the changes we need to make. When it comes to addressing number 7 in the resolution, supports for students facing the greatest challenges, I think there are a few things to consider. When it comes to closing SAC, it is important to pay attention to what folks loved about SAC and note what SAC offered that was impactful and ensure there is still the same access to those things. Deep and authentic learning often tends to flourish in places we don't look, these places that we see as outside of the norm. What if instead of viewing these spaces as an educational afterthought, we treated them as a blueprint for what schools and educational systems could become? Where are students thriving? Is that because of us or in spite of us? What does it mean that students reported that at SAC they felt loved and welcomed? What can we learn and apply so that students can say that about all of our campuses? When it comes to magnets and whether they are serving their purpose, are magnet schools actually better schools, or are they just exclusive places where you get to pick the students and therefore they tend to serve those most easy to educate? Are magnets over-resourced and intensifying under-resourcing at the very schools that tend to serve the students with the most challenges? When, as parents and caregivers, we say the neighborhood school we are assigned to can't give our kid what they need, I wonder if those conditions exist precisely because we don't send our kids to those schools. And if we feel that school can't give our kid what they need, then surely there are other kids at that school who also need what our kid needs and aren't getting it, and we shouldn't be okay with that. We can't just keep opting ourselves out of conditions that are imposed on others and expect the world to be just and equitable. It's not a thought exercise. It's real life, and our choices matter. We create the conditions that exist in the world. When it comes to the ELD plan, it's not enough to just open more centers if things aren't working at the centers and with the instruction and systems we have now. Teachers and staff doing this work have the expertise to take advantage of this opportunity to really build strong programs to serve excellently and with humanity our fastest growing student population. That is a direct investment in the future of our district, our city, and our world. I hope you'll really look at the most recent FU plan and question the details. Do we want double blocking in middle school? Are we content with the music, art, and language offerings proposed at each grade level? What are the educational reasons for these choices? What about discrepancies in electives, extracurriculars, and enrichment? Are you requiring that the administration be intentional in dealing with these inequities? I know you, the board of directors, think this isn't your job, but if you don't do it, who will? Who can? If you don't do something, then this is all just shouting into the wind. We don't have the power or the access that you do, that we voted for you to have.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker, Pam Harvin.
Hello. I'm concerned about how this board is operating under the new Student Outcomes Focused Governance Framework. The clearest example is the Superintendent's Student Outcome Evaluation Goals on this month's agenda. In 2023, before SOFG, the goals covered a broad set of issues: racial and disability disparities, suspension inequities, and CTE certifications. The focus was equity across grade bands and student groups. In 2024, under SOFG, the goals were watered down. Racial and disability disparities, suspension inequities, and CTE certifications were cut, and one of the 4 goals had already been met. And now in 2025, the board is proposing only 3 goals, same goals as last year: 3rd grade ELA, 3rd grade math, and 12th grade graduation. There's no focus on equity across grade bands and student groups, and 2 of the goals have already been met. Approving goals that are already met is not accountability. If you don't know that 2 of the 3 goals were already met, you're voting without understanding the data. If you do know and you approve them anyway, what message is that sending to students and families? Can students turn in last year's homework? Let's look at graduation. The board is proposing a goal of 85.06% of 12th graders graduating. The last 2 years of available data show the goal has already been met: 86.1% in 2023 and 86.9% in 2024. Last year, the justification for having a goal that was already met was that a subgroup of students didn't meet the goal. If a subgroup of students hasn't met the goal, then set the goal specifically for them. Otherwise, you're allowing the superintendent to maintain strategies that continue to fail some of our students. The SOFG framework defines goals as the vision, a representation of what the community wants its students to know and be able to do. By keeping the same 3 goals, math, third grade math, third grade reading, 12th grade graduation, the board is effectively saying the community's vision for our students is the status quo. Is that really what you heard from the community at the SOFG listening sessions? The same pattern showed up with the school closure implementation plan list of priorities. Board members submitted 75 questions drawn from real community concerns. SOFG coaching forced you through a process to cut the list down to 8 items. Many community questions and concerns will not be answered. The Pittsburgh community is already facing uncertainty with the upcoming reconfiguration and school closure decisions. With these massive changes looming, setting goals that the superintendent has already achieved does not instill trust and confidence. SOFG is taking you in the wrong direction and leaving students behind. It's lowering expectations for the superintendent, dismissing community concerns, and removing accountability for the outcomes of students who continue to be harmed by inequitable strategies and practices. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker, Shirley Ann Hill.
I have followed the public hearings regarding the unfair treatment of former Montessori teacher Ms. Stephanie Lapine by Principal Kelly Meyer. Throughout my 41-year career with PPS, I too was subjected to toxic principals like her. In December 2023, Ms. Stephanie Lapine was removed from her classroom by Kelly Meyer. Ms. Stephanie Lapine was cleared in February 2024, but was conveniently transferred to another school that does not have a Montessori program. Why is Kelly Meyer not being held accountable for her unfair treatment of Ms. Stephanie Lapine? And she was the only Black lead teacher at Montessori. Because you chose to completely ignore Kelly Meyer's toxic behavior, Ms. Stephanie Lapine will be starting her own Montessori school. Once again, another awesome teacher leaves PPS because you continue to enable this type of toxic leadership, which has been extended to the parents/guardians and staff. I question how students are first when you do not hold Kelly Meyer accountable for her actions. I am appalled that the Student Achievement Center is on a chopping block. This school offers our kids so much that credit recovery can't come close to it. It's like comparing a Fred Flintstone car to a Mercedes. While at Carrick, I can say credit recovery was dismal. Students start dropping off even before the nice weather. Carrick High School has a very small percentage of Black teachers. I quote, "Research has shown that Black teachers have a direct positive impact on Black and non-Black students." This was written by a young lady named Casey Wright, The Power of Black Teachers, February 26, 2025. Black students at Carrick matter. Another question I have, what is the rationale behind virtual public hearing speakers going after in-person speakers? Please return to the original format where it did not make a difference which option you selected to speak at the public hearing. I'm done.
Thank you for your testimony. And our next speaker this evening is Annie Petway.
Good evening. I'm Annie Petway. I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent of 4 Pittsburgh students. 2 of them are at Pittsburgh Classical Academy. 1 is at Montessori. all three of my four children ride the bus. Well, that's what we're going to discuss. If you noticed in your policy regarding selecting a bus stop, it is noted that the primary parent is allowed to have the bus stop. If there is a secondary parent, that parent is like at the wishes of the transportation department. I have gone over, this is my second year of this, the transportation department and the policy that says that the primary parent, I have a court order that gives me joint custody with two of my children. That joint custody does not say one parent is primary and one parent is secondary. The custody order says that we are equal. We have equal time with the children, and we are considered as equal parents. In the process of us attempting to get transportation for the girls from my address, which is 1621 Allegheny Avenue, which is on the north side, for them to attend Pittsburgh Classical Academy, I was told by the transportation department that if I was listed as secondary, which I didn't think it really mattered, that they were not obligated to provide transportation. That's a little frightening, because I know all of you, you're not serving at the capacity of I just want to be here. You're serving because you believe that students are first. I believe that students are first. And if students are first, it shouldn't matter whether there is a primary or a secondary. The students should receive transportation. My students, my two girls, still do not have a bus stop nor a bus route assigned to them as of this date. I received a note this afternoon that said, well, let's go back before I even got the note. If you got a copy of some of what I've gone through, last year we went through.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker is Kate O'Brien. Again, Kate O'Brien. And now we will move over to our virtual speakers. And our next speaker is Catherine Davin.
Hi, everybody. My name is Catherine Davin. I'm a current ELD teacher at Brashear with two sections of entering level students who are beginners in the United States. I may be their first English teacher or their sixth. Regardless, my students have WIDA scores that range from 1.0 to 1.8. This year, I still have a reading intervention class, which is smaller and designed to help the English language learners that struggle the most. These students experience different challenges with language acquisition. Perhaps they have had interrupted learning in their home countries, or as young women, not been allowed in the school doors at all. Maybe they have unidentified learning disabilities. Maybe they are somewhere within the 1 to 9 years it takes English learners to become comfortable reading, writing, speaking, listening, and of course, thinking in English. Does this first paragraph give you pause? Believe me when I say I'm living my dream. I became certified in English 7 through 12 in 2000 in PA. This after working at Western Psych, Presley Ridge Schools, and an RTF, at Northside Urban Pathways, one of Pittsburgh's first charter schools, and also teaching piano for 5 years. For me, These issues, my current issues, provide the intellectual and creative challenge of my job. It is one I crave, one I love. I am here tonight alongside colleagues, both new and old, to call for PPS to intentionally plan for the new ELD centers with a working task force of parents, students, ELD educators, and OTP stakeholders so that we are at the forefront of equitable English language development. Now is the time to create something viable, strong, and sustainable. Every day, I sense the urgency of now. At my first ELD PD, I remember being told, "We are PPS." I have seen this to be true. The families of Ls are registering their children from first day August to last day June. If we didn't have Ls in the district, we would be closing more schools. They deserve our best, and we cannot contribute to the new underperforming subgroup. One early district theme at PPS I remember called teachers merchants of hope. I grumbled to myself, I am not selling anything. I am giving it away for free. My ELD students want what I am offering. They are hungry for it. They are respectful. They deserve it, and I am honored to teach them. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your testimony. And our next speaker is Deepa Bardolo.
Hi, everybody. I teach English Language Arts and English Language Development, or ELD, at Brashear High School, where the number of ELD students has ballooned to 300. It makes up more than 30% of the school population. My students amaze me every year. My ninth graders are young, but already so resilient and adaptable. They have taught me that a caring community can help us overcome our most challenging and traumatic experiences. I hope to see more equity for ELD students at PPS. As a high school ELD teacher, we are overwhelmed with students of varied learning needs, languages, and levels in one crowded classroom. Some students with limited or interrupted education can barely read 3 or 4 letter words, and they cannot write simple sentences. ELD teachers work with these students who need more one-on-one attention while trying to meet the needs of more literate learners in the same classroom. In mainstream content class, how do you teach chemistry or biology when some ELD students are not literate yet? The mainstream teachers also have native English speakers in the same class who require their attention. There is no easy solution. PPS is opening more ELD centers, but do these centers come with resources? I hope the planners take the ELD demographics into consideration. Are there enough ELD teachers for all these centers? So there are a variety of classrooms to support students with varied English levels and abilities. Are the mainstream teachers and non-teaching staff trained in how best to support ELD students in their classrooms and in the hallways? Are native English speaking students given the opportunity to learn about their non-native English speaking peers? How can they learn together, side by side, in meaningful, respectful, and integrated ways? When we pool our resources to support our students, every student gets the equitable treatment that we all aspire to. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Kim Delhausen.
Good evening. My name is Kim Delhausen, and I am an English language development teacher at Brashear High School. During the past 14 years, the immigrant population within PPS has continued to grow. When I first started here, ELD Director Jonathan Covell talked about preparing for 1,000 students at our opening professional learning days. Today, the number of English learners, or ELs, at Brashear has doubled, and the district has now surpassed 2,000 English learners. As the overall enrollment in the district declines, the increase in ELs has shifted the composition of many schools. Today, the EL population represents 30% of Brashear's student body. Currently, the Future Ready plan proposes adding an additional 6 ELD centers to the existing 11 for a whopping 17 ELD centers. As an educator in the department, I wonder how you will accomplish your goals of excellence, equity, and efficiency when the current centers are not equitable. For instance, Brashear has ELD science, mathematics, and social studies teachers to support newcomer students, particularly important for those with limited or interrupted formal education. Alderdice and Perry offer none. At South Hills Middle School, 3 ELD ELA teachers each have 6 periods of instruction daily, leaving no time for students in need of intensive Tier 3 reading intervention. At Brashear, we sometimes receive 9th grade students who have been in the United States for 2, 3, or even 5 years who cannot read above a lower elementary level. They have not received small group Tier 3 reading intervention because the middle schools from which they feed do not have the capacity. Furthermore, we receive 9th graders each year that haven't had ELD instruction at all because their middle school ELD teachers only have the capacity to serve students with an access proficiency score under 3.0 on a 6.0 scale. Our multilingual paraprofessionals are often the face of the district to our families. They understand perhaps more than anyone the barriers that families experience throughout their time in PPS schools, from the frustrations with the enrollment process to transportation to communication. The superintendent's priority goal 5 subpoint 6 states, create and expand opportunities for stakeholder feedback regarding needed resources to ensure equity, excellence, and efficiency. In subpoint 7, it states, design collaborative stakeholder teams to create core recommendations that begin the journey of addressing strategic allocation of resources to ensure equity, excellence, and efficiency. Start accomplishing these goals by forming an ELD collaborative team or working group of educators, instructional specialists, multilingual paraprofessionals, and perhaps even former English learner alumni who will bring their passion, diverse perspectives, on-the-ground experience, and expertise to the table as you dream and plan what truly equitable and excellent ELD centers will look like in the future of Pittsburgh Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. And our next speaker is Jenna Barron.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jenna Barron, and I'm here on behalf of Arise, an official out-of-school time partner with Pittsburgh Public Schools. Since 2013, we have provided programming to support English learners in the district and across Allegheny County. For more than a decade, we've worked side by side with PPS administrators and educators to better understand how to improve outcomes for multilingual students and their families. In those conversations, we've consistently heard that there are not enough English learners in Pittsburgh compared to other cities to justify new models like a newcomer academy, even though PPS's own educators, those with direct experience, including those speaking today, have been recommending such models for years. That rationale is out of step with the facts. The only student population that has grown in PPS in recent years is English learners. These students and their families bring tremendous strengths to our schools and communities, yet too often their needs are not centered when major district plans are made. At the same time, federal policy changes have made life even more difficult for immigrant students and their families, from the quiet removal of federal rules protecting English learners, to shifting immigration enforcement policies, to the trauma and absenteeism that researchers have documented nationwide. We've heard directly from students and educators about the ripple effects of this broader anti-immigrant climate inside PPS schools, which further isolates students who already face structural barriers to the education they are legally entitled to. All of this underscores the urgency for PPS to build a culture and infrastructure that truly supports multilingual learners. Agenda item 17.1 asks the administration to provide key deliverables before the board moves forward on its facilities plan. We urge you to ensure those deliverables include concrete plans and timelines for improving outcomes and equity for English learners. That means leveraging the financial resources you already have and the deep commitment of PPS educators, some of whom have spoken today and have spoken in dozens of previous hearings and town halls, and fully integrating multilingual students and families into the Future Ready implementation plan. Our district has the talent and partnerships to do this. What's needed is the will to make sure every PPS school is welcoming, supportive place for all students, including English learners. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker is Lily Allman.
I'm just going to keep this short and simple. Hundreds have shown up, but you haven't listened. Over the last 2 years, hundreds have shown up for their community, but you've just ignored us. For these past 2 years, we've been asking you questions just for you to not answer. You made an implication that there was low turnout because you agreed with this plan. That isn't the automatic truth at all. Stop making false implications and actually start listening.
Thank you for your testimony. And our last speaker this evening is Valerie Webb Allman.
I want to start with expressing my deep concerns with comments that have been made by members of the board and the administration around the low turnout of families at the school closure hearings. Comments have been made either stating or strongly implying that people didn't speak up at those hearings because they agree with the plan. One board member even had the nerve to say that people weren't on vacation because no one could afford to go on a vacation. So that was an excuse for why families weren't there. Well, ignoring the complete absurdity of that statement in itself, most families that can't afford to go on a vacation also can't afford to take time away from work or their families to show up at a public hearing that has been planned in the most inconvenient and inaccessible way possible either. So just wanted to note that. There seems to be this narrative that keeps on getting pushed over and over and over again, despite the evidence otherwise, that people are disengaged because they agree with the plan. But you have heard from hundreds of people in just the last couple of months regarding their concerns around this plan. They've asked questions, they've offered solutions, they've done everything they can to partner. And over the last couple of years, you've had thousands of people completing surveys, showing up to community engagement sessions, turning out to public hearings, all with the expression that they have deep concerns around what is happening to our communities and our children, not all thousands of people that are allegedly agreeing with this plan. And yet the narrative still stands. It still keeps on getting pushed out there. And I need you to take a real deep reflection about how much harm is continuing to build. In March, it was publicly acknowledged the deep mistrust that there is with this administration, with the damage that has been done by the district when it comes to public engagement over several years, but especially since this plan has been going forward. And we were told that there was going to be a commitment to repairing that harm. And that was in March. It's been 6 months, like just about. And the only thing that we got is additional emails. Are you kidding me? Where's the answers to our questions over the last year, over the last 3 months through these community engagement sessions that you've been doing? They're almost impossible to find on the website, and the website Q&A is incorrect. It still has one question about Arsenal being at 30%, but we know that's a lie. Where's their class size information? Where is the information about like how big these schools are going to be? What's the capacity calculation? Like that's information that we should have already. It doesn't make any sense. You cannot keep on saying and disregarding families, especially the most impacted families, and say, you know what, we've been ignoring you and disregarding you for 2 years or longer, but we know that you're not showing up anymore because you agree. It's atrocious. And it's disrespectful, it's harmful.
Thank you for your
You need to
testimony.
take accountability.
And that will conclude our testimonies this evening. I want to thank all the people who came out to testify, but I want to go back and go through the list to ensure that no one came late. So it's Kate O'Brien, thank you again, and now I will turn this back into the hands of Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Ms. Gandy. And again, thank you to everyone who took time to submit their testimonies today, whether you were able to be here in person or virtually or weren't able to make it. And we do appreciate it. We hear you, and we will continue to find ways to work with our community as we continue to build a new Pittsburgh Public Schools. And so with that, we will see you all on Wednesday evening for our legislative session. Please be safe if you're out driving, and we will see you all soon. Thank you.